welcome. It's really exciting to see this mix of people in our audience today. And so I'd like to get us started. Welcome to Teach for the Bay. We have our workshop today on Teacher Academy, how high school students benefit from hands-on learning experience and early college access. These are our sponsors of our entire conference. And just our agenda for the day, we'll go over our relationship with dual enrollment, which sounds like many of you are familiar with. And we'll give an overview of Teacher Academy. How does the program itself work? And then we'll go into our student panel. We'll hear from students who are actually in Teacher Academy and what their experience with the program has been like. My name is Arisa Hiroi. I've been the Teacher Academy coordinator for a couple of years now. I teach at Abraham Lincoln High School, and I'm actually a graduate of Teacher Academy myself quite a while ago. But I have definitely benefited from the program, and it is the reason why I am here teaching these students now. And then I'm going to hand it off to Jerica.
Yeah, thank you, Arisa. You're the embodiment that these programs are powerful and they work. They get people into the classroom that are amazing educators. So good evening, everyone. Good early evening. My name is Jerica Coffey, and I am on the faculty, the teaching faculty at CCSF. In the Child Development Department. I'm also a full-time high school educator in Oakland Unified School District, and I'm excited to be here with you all to share our learnings and highlight the amazing student voices from Teacher Academy. So before we start, I want to share a little bit about collaboration, because powerful programs like Teacher Academy are one piece of overall pipeline work that's growing in the Bay region. Kathleen White is really a mover and a shaker in this work and has grown it to incredible places. And so, but the work is collaborative, and when institutions collaborate in powerful ways and in ways that center students, amazing things can happen. And when I think about Teacher Academy and its success, and I think about the early college programming that I've been lucky to be a part of at CCSF, working with SFUSD's early college programming department, I think about this idea of student-centered approaches and being responsive to students' needs and the powerful outcomes that we can see. So I want to highlight just a few things about our collaboration that I think are instructive before you hear student voices, because sometimes I know for myself, when I go to conferences and I get to just see the end product, I don't always understand all the behind the scenes work that goes into the outcome. And there really is, I think, in the collaboration between these three entities here on this graphic, some powerful work that models best practices when we think about supporting teacher pathways from high schools into early college programming and back into our classrooms for education professionals. So maybe the next slide, I can talk through that piece. So one part of, and you'll hear more about the design of Teacher Academy, but one part of it is partnering with the local community college, City College of San Francisco, and students, in addition to taking their high school classes and doing field work, they also take courses in the college, in the Child Development Department. And so I want to say a few things about that work, because it's supported well, and I think a real model for what it can look like. So early college programming, it's important, I think, there are sometimes students who can walk into a college classroom or a college course in, as a high schooler and not need any support and thrive. But I think it's often the case, especially when we want to serve a diverse population of students, that there's a range of students that need a range of different kinds of support. We can't just have them taking college classes without the supports. And so I want to talk a little bit briefly about the design of the supports, because as an instructor, I feel like I've received the value of a really well-designed program, in that my students are really supported to thrive in my classes. So the one thing that I want to say about that is that for every course that I teach that has dual enrollment high school students in SFUSD, there almost always is a support staff, an early college support staff who has an existing relationship with the students, and who monitors their grades and sort of holds space for the course. And we've done some experimentation with remote and fully online and in person. The one thing I want to highlight here is the existing relationships are really powerful. For me as a college instructor, sometimes I don't have those relationships, and I need to build them really fast. And in the online or virtual environment, it's been even more challenging to do that. So having staff that's dedicated to each course that I teach, that know the course and know the students, has really been a huge factor in the number of students that are successful in the course. Additionally, in the summer, when we offer coursework, students are offered incentives for their work in the field. I believe, Kathy, you could probably speak to this, but a lot of the incentive funding comes from DCYF, to my understanding. And so sometimes we incentivize coming to office hours, but we always incentivize their work in the field. And so they have paid work that's tied to their summer internships. And then they also take coursework with me, so that and other instructors, so that they're getting the support and the professional learning and the frameworks for working effectively with children. And so that's sort of how the collaboration and partnership works. And it's very vibrant and very rich. And I'm excited. All the students on the panel have been my students in the past, and they're just incredible young people. So I'm excited that we get to hear from them today.
All right, thank you so much. And so Kathleen put into the chat, yes, DCYF, Department of Children and Youth, I'm sorry, Children, Youth and Families, yeah, is the funding source for many of our summer internships. All right. So, just to go into a little bit of an overview of Teacher Academy and how it's structured, our goal is college and career. I know in the past, a lot of the times it's been this college or career, which one are you going to choose? But the idea is, when you decide to go into college, you will eventually still need a career. If you want certain careers, you're going to also want to go to college. And so it's this vision of making it all tie in, making the school, whatever we do at school, connect better to what we want to do in our future as a career. So can we figure out as high school students who we want to be, so then we can select a meaningful and effective post-graduation path early? Can we hone professional and practical skills early? So, the first time we go out to work as an adult, these skills are already something we've practiced early on. And can we make the connection between school, the classroom, and our future more clear? Like, there's a clear reason why we're doing what we do in the classroom. How do we get that to happen? One, we provide students with hands-on experience working with children. The main part of Teacher Academy is that once a week, our students are going to elementary schools and being assistants in elementary school classrooms, getting that hands-on experience. We build mentoring relationships with professionals in the education field. So each of our students will have an elementary school teacher that they report to every week. And throughout that year, they get to build that professional relationship. Here's who I report to. Here's who I can get professional feedback from. And finally, we want to provide career and technical education elective courses that focus on applications of content to real life. What we learn in class isn't just theory, it's things that we can actually use directly in the work that they do with elementary school children. And so in the sophomore year, our elective that we provide is called Introduction to Education. They will do some career exploration. They'll think about professionalism, teaching, and the education system itself. They work at our partners, Eloa and Sunset Elementary School, which is a short bus ride away. And by the end of the year, their goal is to teach their peers a lesson. They're going to design a mini lesson that they can teach their high school peers. Junior year tends to be very there's a strong emphasis in terms of college applications. And so this is where we stick child development honors. It's an honors course, so they get a GPA boost. And we'll learn about physical, cognitive, and social emotional development from all the way in infancy to adolescence. And speaking of partnerships, we do have an articulation agreement with CCSF. And so if they pass the final with a high enough score, they will get City College credits as well. We work with Feinstein and Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary, which the students can walk to. And so during that time, and all this happens during school hours, they'll walk down to the elementary school and do their work there. Their capstone usually is to teach and reflect on a district provided lesson. So not designing their own lesson yet, but taking a district provided lesson, teaching it to actual elementary school children, and then reflecting on that experience. By senior year, they take a course called Child, Family, and Community, and this is more of a sociology perspective on working with children. So what is society's impact on the child? How does socialization, socioeconomics all impact how we develop? They continue their work at the same elementary schools, and the goal by the end of senior year, and all of you will do this, students who are on here right now, you will design, teach, and reflect on your own original lesson meant for elementary school students. So our key part of all of this is our work-based learning, where students get to work in elementary schools and get that hands-on experience. The format is they go every week, and we have a partial block schedule. So the blocks are 103 minutes long, I believe. And so that ensures that they can get a good amount of time working with the elementary school students, even considering the time that it takes to get there and to come back. We partner with neighborhood elementary schools that are mostly within walking distance. So again, it fits into the school day. It's not an after school activity. And we work with those schools to recruit elementary school teachers who will be their mentor teacher for the year. We really advertise it as a win-win relationship. Our students get the mentorship and the professional experience. Their students in the classroom get an extra helper, extra set of eyes to kind of make sure the classroom, everyone in the classroom is doing okay. Some ways that our students help is to provide one-on-one assistance. You know, if there's a student who would just benefit from that extra attention, they might help prepare materials. Elementary school teachers don't get enough prep time. We know this. And so our high school students assist with that. Supervise recess, or maybe even provide home language support. The great thing is our students are also from our district, SFUSD students. And so a lot of our population mirrors the elementary school population better. And so they can provide home language support a lot of the time. Over the summers, this is where that partnership comes in. We are very lucky to provide an internship. We work with the SFUSD College and Career Readiness Office, and we give students a paid opportunity to work in different settings. Some of them have been community-based organizations like the local beacon centers or YMCA. We work with extended school year programs, so certain populations with different needs like English learner or special education who really benefit from that enrichment over the summer. And then while they're doing this paid work, the early college department also provides UC CSU transferable City College of San Francisco classes. And so as a dual enrollment student, they're taking classes usually that have to do with child development, and then walking away with credits that they can use in their college careers. So that's kind of an overview of how Teacher Academy works. But to get into the meat of our session today, we wanted to hear from people who have actually gone through it and are going through it right now. And so we have 5 students here today. If you could say hello in the mic, it should spotlight you. We have Yeslin.
Hello.
We have Romeo.
Sure.
We have Danica.
Hi.
We have Esme.
Hi.
And we have Ellery.
Hi.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that hopefully we can see each other a little better. And I was just going to moderate a panel. What is it like to actually be Teacher Academy students? So starting with Danica, what's your favorite aspect of working at the elementary schools?
My favorite part is going to be working with the students. I love seeing their improvement over the year when I work with them, from the beginning of the year to the end. I love seeing how they grow.
And what's one way that you've seen a student grow in particular this year?
There's this one student I work with to help read, and we used to read this list of like 100 sight words. And at the beginning, they only knew like 3 or 4, but at the end of the year, they could read all of it very well.
And it's nice to see that improvement and like recognize like, hey, I had a little bit of a hand in that. And so Ellery, what's your favorite aspect of working at the elementary schools?
I like getting the hands-on experience and sort of experiencing teacher life and seeing how teachers interact with students in the classroom.
Is there anything that you didn't really realize about teaching until you did this?
I think like in classrooms, it's not always about teachers giving students information. Like students may not always want to listen. And so sometimes seeing how teachers want everyone to focus in and giving reminders and countdowns for everyone to stay on task is very interesting.
And I will say, as a teacher who teaches students who have been teachers before, it's really nice to be able to say like, hey, when you're the teacher, I know you don't appreciate that. Let's not bring this to my classroom either, right? It's really nice on the teacher side to have people who know what it's like to teach as well. Moving on, Esme, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of working at the elementary schools?
I would say just leaving the kids, because I feel like that, yeah, I just feel like just leaving the kids, because that like it's just pure emotion and attachment before that. So just leaving and detaching is just like the most hardest out of everything.
And you work with a very particular group of students, like special education students, right?
Yeah.
But it's nice when, well, how do they react when you do come?
When I come, they just start running to me and hug me. They're like Miss Esme, and they're just really excited. They like pull me. It's just, yeah.
So it's challenging to walk away, but they know you'll be back the following week. And Romeo, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of working at the elementary schools?
I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's like keeping up with the energy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as soon as you go there, you know, they are highly energetic and just they're highly energetic And you know, it's kind of hard to like match your energy because like here in high school, you know, everybody depressed and sad, you know what I'm saying? So like when I go over there, it's like everybody happy and all that. I mean, you know, I'm trying to be happy too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I say I ain't gonna lie, that I say that is a challenging part, but then also the challenging part is that I say talking, you know what I'm saying? Because like, you know, like they be rambling on about some, and then like you got to pay attention to every little thing, and then it's like after a second, they be like, "Can I show you a trick?" And then it's like they do the trick, and then I don't know, they move on to something completely different. Like kids are very hard to talk to, but it also made me better because you know it helps me keep up with the mind of a kid, you know, and like their energy, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it's also been an experience because like I've also teaching stuff and also give you some wisdom, you know, and you know, but you know, I'd say that, you know, keeping up with them, challenge, talking to them.
And that is sometimes how I feel as a high school teacher as well. It is a different level of energy. Yes, I like that. So Danica, what skills have you been able to hone through your work in Teacher Academy?
With Teacher Academy, I've definitely been able to work on a lot of skills like related to children. I've been able to work on like patience, like Romeo said, it's you have to like, wait for them to finish their sentence and get to the point of what they're actually trying to tell you. But I've also been able to work on like job readiness with Teacher Academy. Like last year we worked on our resumes and we also worked on like mock interviews. That was definitely really helpful to like see how it would be if I was actually applying and see what I can improve on.
Awesome. So professionalism in a lot of different ways and patience. Agreed. And Yeslin, what skills do you feel you've been able to hone in Teacher Academy?
I think that I've been able to learn a lot about just being creative in general, because if you're not creative with kids, they're just not going to be entertained. So you really have to learn how to find different things, different activities that will work for them, and also for you as a teacher.
Totally agreed. They say that teachers make hundreds of on-the-spot decisions every day because you never know what kids are going to throw at you. And I hope that no matter what path we decide to go into, that creativity really follows you and that thinking on your feet becomes something that you can use. Yeah. And then in what ways has being at the elementary schools challenged you to become a better leader or a better student?
Sometimes when I do things that are not like in school or with the kids, I just double think about like, oh, like I work with kids, should I do this? Like every decision I make is just based off like, oh, like, do I need to like, should I do this? Like, is this something that I want the kids to do? Like, is this how I want them to react? Like everything, like it's just a daily basis thing. Yeah.
So you really kind of become a role model for students and that kind of mentality follows you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Yeslin, what do you think? What ways has being at the elementary schools challenged you to become a better leader or a better student?
I think it's mostly helped me become better student just because I see all of the thought that goes into planning lessons or the teacher having to put a lot of effort into activities. And as a student, I've gotten to see more that I shouldn't take things for granted that teachers do for you and how much time they put into their work.
You're going to make me cry. It's like a lot of empathy for the work that teachers do in this. All right. So Ellery, what was it like for you taking a CCSF course in high school? So a lot of our students take dual enrollment courses as well. But what was it like for you to take a CCSF course while a high school student?
I think it was really great to take a class that high schools don't offer and learn with other people that aren't my age, because like a lot of students there, some are already teachers, some are college students planning to be teachers, and some are teacher academy students as well. But the diversity and the different ideas, opinions come in, and experiences as well.
Yeah, and I actually think that I'm sure they see a different perspective that you share as a high school student in their college classes as well. Yeslin, what was it like for you taking a CCSF course in high school?
I think it was very like a great way to start thinking about college and just having more, being more prepared for when you actually get to college, what the workload is like, or how professors manage their classes. And I think it's really also, well, hopefully it will make it easier as we transition to college next year.
And what's something that you felt like, oh, that's different from high school?
I mean, it's definitely different. There is less reaching out from professors. It's mostly you have to be responsible of the work that you do.
Right. And so like Professor Jerica was mentioning, that's also where the SFUSD support staff come in. And so they aim to help a little bit. Like it's still not as much outreach as you would experience in high school, but it kind of helps with that transition, like you're saying. And we had a question in the chat. Do students go to the CCSF campus or participate virtually? Ellery, Danica, Yeslin, your CCSF courses were virtual, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All of their classes were virtual. In the past, we've had a mix of both, especially over the summer. A lot of the classes have been in person. And so they'll only go like once or twice a week and meet in person and then debrief what it was like at their work placements that week. So we've had a combination of both. So why did you join Teacher Academy? Danica, why did you join Teacher Academy?
I joined Teacher Academy because when I was in elementary school, I had a Teacher Academy student in my class, and I just remember like looking up to them and just wanting to be them. So when I got to Lincoln and I knew of the Teacher Academy and like all the opportunities it offered, I really wanted to join so I could be the role model to the kids at the elementary school.
Awesome. And that, I'm like, would have been me in that classroom at the time as a high school student? But no, I would be even further back. Yeah. All right. And Romeo, why did you join Teacher Academy?
So sorry. Right. So I joined because I joined because man. Okay, I really value family, you know, and like when I get older, you know, I want to be able to have like a big family and all that. And then also I noticed that my behavior, you know, around kids is just very vulgar and very unprofessional, you know. I curse and what I'm saying, say a whole bunch of stuff, you know what I'm saying. So I realized I had to, put myself in a situation where I got to challenge myself to, really think about my actions and my words and what I say, you know, just like in a professional environment at work. So joined Teacher Academy, I was like, okay, this might give me, you know, a way to actually, you know, fix myself, you know, instead of rambling on about everything in a book, you know what I'm saying? So, and also I wanted to join because, you know, growing up, you know, I grew up in, obviously I grew up in the hood, you know what I'm saying? So over there, you know, usually like things are a lot more violent, you know, and it's a lot more, you know, rambunctious. So like being a kid in that type of environment, you know, you got to be like, you know, real hard, you know, like gotta be able to fight, you know, anytime it's like trying to disrespect, you know, whatever, right? So I was like, this is my environment. Let's try it differently, you know, because I don't want to be in like an echo chamber, be like, oh, you know, this is how it works. I got to teach my kid how to fight. I got to, you know what I'm saying? But I also got to look at how other communities and you know and how they move and how they teach their kids. So you know, when I finally do make it out, you know, I could raise my kids and you know, in two separate ways, you know, where I could balance it out a lot more because, you know, I could be like, oh no, it's okay. Oh, like, you know, it's like someone hit you in the back of the head. It's okay. But, you know, or either go to the other extreme and be like, somebody hit you, hit them back, you know. I want to be in the middle where it's like, you know, what happened? What did you do? Talk it out and then go on from there.
And I think what Romeo's speaking to that, like, you know, we all come back from different backgrounds. All of our students come from different backgrounds. And the nice thing about having SFUSD high school students working in SFUSD elementary schools is they get that. And so they're not going to just say, oh, it's okay, you know, because we don't know, but our high school students get what it's like to come from different backgrounds and can use that to then relate to younger students and then pull them to be better, right? And so I really like that you mentioned that it's nice that our students come from very similar backgrounds of the little ones and can relate better and encourage them to be better. I also think it's really important. We have a really diverse group of kids here, right? And notoriously in education, educators are not super diverse. And so to bring in high school students who look like the elementary school students that they teach and offer to be that role model, I think is really, really powerful. All the work that all of you do, just being yourselves and showing that you can be leaders. That's why the little ones can be future leaders too. Yeah, so thanks. All right. So Yeslin, how has the format of Teacher Academy, being this small school within a school, one thing that I failed to mention was that, you know, students are going through this program for multiple years. They're staying with the same classmates for those years. They also take other classes, not just the elective course, but courses like math or English with the same classmates whenever it's possible. So Yeslin, how do you think that format of Teacher Academy added to your high school experience?
I think that having like been with the same students all 3 years has definitely made us very comfortable around each other, and we've been able to like create a community within ourselves. And like I was saying, there are things that happen during the day that I would only share with like Teacher Academy. For example, today we went down to the elementary schools, and then we just ask each other, how did it go today with the kids? And that's something that we can all relate to. And I think we've definitely had the opportunity to come closer and have just closer relationships with each other.
Yeah, definitely. I was a Teacher Academy kid, and I still keep in touch with my Teacher Academy classmates. I've been their bridesmaids. I've thrown their baby showers. And so my hope is that all of you continue to keep in touch with each other too. Romeo, how has the format of Teacher Academy added to your high school experience?
I made a lot more. I made a lot more friends, you know, and associates. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I've been able to meet a lot more people, and I've been able to be a lot more sociable because, you know, after interacting with kids for about, an hour and how many minutes a day, it's, every week. And, you just, I don't know, it just gets kind of easier to talk to people, and, and being in this class, like with, all these kids for all these years, it's been a trip, I made some cool friends, probably some lifelong friends, what I'm saying? So, I was very, I'm very fortunate to, join Teacher Academy and all that. Otherwise, my school year, like would have been boring, like you can already see, like me and Esme, just like this, what I'm saying? Just like that. Anyway.
All right. So I agree with, oh, lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It's okay, it happens.
Thank you. See all this empathy in this room. I love it. So yeah, I do think, oh, now I remember. Being with the younger children and being kind of that leader there and always communicating with the younger children, I do think brings a lot of students out of their shell. They're almost forced to become more sociable in that setting, and definitely work on their presentation skills. And I do think that you bring that to the interactions you have with each other, just like Romeo is saying. All right, and last questions. Ellery, do you want to be a teacher or work with children in the future? Why or why not?
I'm still considering if I want to be a teacher, but I definitely want to work with children because I feel like when I'm with children, I feel more happier and more positive because they're always full of energy. Like, for example, when they're running around in the yard and screaming and having fun. And it's also very rewarding to see them learn and grow. And it gives me reminders to learn from everything as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope one day you join Lincoln as a teacher and then I can see you and be like, yes, former Teacher Academy student. Oh no, you want to go to elementary school. That's right. That's right.
I want to be elementary school teacher.
Which is cool too. And then Esme, do you want to be a teacher or work with children in the future? Why or why not?
Like Ellery, I'm still considering it, but not entirely because like the pay, oh well.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Only for the bag.
Yes.
But like, like I still want to work with kids, of course, but it's just like different. There's different like titles you can do.
You have two bags.
Yeah, and so there are so many different ways to work with children. We try to offer different ways to interact with professionals who work with youth, but not necessarily in education. You could go into therapy, social work, and there's all sorts of paths that you can take, but I absolutely agree, Esme. The pay is often the reason why people are like, I love working with kids. I love the idea of, contributing to education and the field, but the pay. Yeah, and that's real. That's real, especially in the Bay Area. We feel it every day. And so I hope, fingers crossed, 5-10 years when you're considering this question again, that pay is not as big of a deterrent for you, that we invest in our future educators and bring that up. Yes, Kathleen, we will get there. Yes, and if we value, I'm seeing things in the comments, if we show our value to teachers, to educators, and to everyone who works with children, early childhood education, same thing, right? Then we will always see better outcomes for all of our little future adults. So thank you for bringing that to light. All right, so I did see a few questions in the comments. This program seems to have so many benefits. Do you have any comparative data that shows improvements in outcomes, college and career placement, etc., compared to other kids at the same school? It's really hard to find that data, somewhat because the students are self-selecting. They volunteer to be a part of Teacher Academy. They volunteer to do something that is extra, to take an extra elective course. And so, yes, these are students that a lot of the time are going to show improvements in outcomes. At the same time, I do think that there's a huge confidence boost that comes from working with young children and knowing that, hey, I can do this. I can work professionally once a week. My classes make sense to me because I see it in my everyday life. I see it like when I actually go down to work. And so I would hope, and students, you can chime in. Do you think that working with young children in this way, do you think that Teacher Academy has led to improvements in like your regular classes?
I personally think it has. You're able to value, like I said before, the work that goes into just planning and everything that goes into a classroom. I don't know for everyone, but I think everyone has had a great experience in learning in Teacher Academy so far.
And related to the whole college and career, most of our students do move on to either 4-year or 2-year universities. They absolutely do. And then do you think there's enough interest from students to duplicate this program at other schools in SFUSD? I'd hope so. I hope that, having this information out there about how you can start this kind of a program helps. The program was started by a teacher. And so it's not something that has to come from higher up. It's something that you can just start if you have a good relationship with a local elementary school that is on board to help you recruit mentor teachers. You can definitely replicate this in other schools. Another question was, do students receive any stipend pay when they assist in the classroom, or is the paid opportunity only during the summer with paid internships? The work that they do during school hours, they do not get paid for because they're getting high school credit for it. However, how many of you did the school year internship after school and got paid for that? You can just say it in the mic. Anyone do the school year internship? I think, Esme, you did, right? You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after school, which school did you work at last year?
James Lake Middle
James. Oh, middle school. All right. So that's also a nice thing because the after school opportunity then opens it up to the whole city, wherever you can get to between here and home. And so some of them do internships at middle schools as opposed to elementary schools. And yes, they did get paid for that, but during the school day, they do not get paid. How many students are part of Teacher Academy? We have about 33 to 35 students per cohort. And so we have 3 cohorts. So almost about 100 every year. So there are many graduates from Teacher Academy that have both become teachers or have chosen careers with children or youth. Many graduates are still connected with each other. Yes, I am one of them, right? I graduated from Teacher Academy, came back to teach at Lincoln. All right. And we've had a lot of people come back to teach or work in our school district. A couple of the staff people who Professor Jerica was mentioning that support the CCSF dual enrollment program are actually Teacher Academy graduates as well. I know that there are counselors in our school district, administrators who in our school district who have also come out of the Teacher Academy. Right. Any other questions that people want to throw into the chat for our students here or for me? How do the supporting teachers communicate with students during the school year? Can I ask to clarify, supporting teachers and like the mentor teacher at the elementary schools or the staff person supporting dual enrollment courses? Supporting dual enrollment. So our staff supporting dual enrollment are usually assigned to a dual enrollment class. They'll see the entire roster. They'll often get TA access so they can see CCSF's grades, their grade book. And then they'll also have the SFUSD roster. And so they'll be able to look up how to contact the parent guardians, the student's email or preferred email, best way to contact them. And so the staff person will follow up as necessary using the SFUSD roster, as well as whatever personal information that the student provides. So that follow-up can happen. Again, doesn't happen in college, but we want to provide that extra support, at least while we're transitioning through dual enrollment. Does SFUSD have a pathway or connection to CCSF with regard to leadership? To clarify, and you can use your mic if you'd like to. In regards to leadership, like creating a pipeline of staff. Okay, got it. Or no.
Sorry, I'll help clarify. What I meant was, is there a way for these students who are learning hands-on leadership in high school to continue that at the community college level?
So like a continued internship at CCSF where they can continue to like work in a hands-on environment, be that leader.
Well, I'm thinking more so like as they transition when they graduate and maybe they're going to go to community college or, as you mentioned, university, CSUs, UCs, but I just wasn't sure if SFUSD had any relationships with any colleges to allow students to continue to build upon what they've already started.
We have contacts at CCSF's Pathway to Teaching in the pipeline program. We will sometimes hand over a list of students. Hey, here's who's going to CCSF and who's interested in CDEV. Please follow up with them so you can kind of become their mentor, their counselor. We don't have a formal program, but just the personal connections tends to kind of be the handoff. Do staff follow up if there's a problem with a student, or do they meet a few times during the school year as a check-in? Also for dual enrollment support, I'm guessing. So if a student's just not doing as well in their CCSF class, they will follow up as necessary. That might mean even going to their regular high school site. And then making sure that they can meet face to face and say, hey, how are you doing? You know, what do you feel like you need to be successful in this course? And so face-to-face follow-up will happen. They might have like an orientation in the beginning where everyone gets together or like a wrap-up. But if follow-up is necessary, it might happen over the phone or it might happen in person. And again, that's what's nice about having SFUSD staff being charged with that, because they're going to know the school site. They're going to know people there who can help get that buy-in with the student and build that connection. There was an apprentice program at CCSF. It really depends on the funding. Do elementary or middle schools require background checks of students assisting in the classrooms? No, because they're not 18. all of our students, as long as they are under 18, they can go into the other schools without all of that fingerprinting and whatnot. And so the moment they do become 18 and they graduate, some of our students have continued to do the internship for one more summer. And in that case, yes, they do need to get the full background check, just like any other adult. But until then, kind of lucky for us, we don't have to go through that particular hoop. Yeah. Any other questions people want to throw in the chat? Did funding come from CCSF or SFUSD for apprenticeships in student classrooms? I think in SFUSD classrooms, there isn't always funding in particular for working at the elementary schools, which is kind of what's nice about it. You don't need a whole lot to make it happen. You just need an elementary school who is willing to host, who would love the extra help. And then they have to be within, walking distance. And then we just schedule a time once a week for our students to go. Outside of that, we are lucky to be a California Partnership Academy program. And so that's a state grant that does offer us a good chunk of money to do more. So that's where our funding comes for, say, field trips to go to, where do we go? We went to San Jose State. Yeah, so like a bus to go all the way to San Jose State isn't always cheap, but those kinds of extras were paid for by our California Partnership Academy grant. And so that's been nice. I apologize, your particular cohort didn't get to do as much because of the pandemic, but we have done different things before, like outdoor education through camping and a ropes course. Seeing how those kinds of opportunities help young people grow by actually experiencing it ourselves, going to the Children's Creativity Museum and being able to pay admission for that. All of that funding comes from our California Partnership Academy grant from the state. But other than that, if you really just want to do elementary school visits once a week, where our high school students work and help out there, you don't need a whole lot of funding to do that. Just, willing parties to collaborate. And then the stipends for after school and summer came from DCYF, which is the state's department. Or sorry, the city's department. Okay, any other questions? We're at 5:25. I do want to put into the chat the certificate for joining our session. And then Kathleen put in the evaluation link a couple of times. Here's the evaluation link again. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to stay on, but really thank you so much for joining our session about Teacher Academy. I hope it was a nice experience to hear directly from the source. What is it like for high school students now who are working with elementary school kids weekly? But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the program and the students involved. You're rocking it. Thank you so much.